They called them lotus feet, a name so delicate, a name for beauty. But these feet were broken, twisted, bound for years. Beauty had a terrible price, paid by millions of women. For 1,000 years it was so. Imagine a tiny shoe, no bigger than a cup, inside a foot forced to fit. This was the ideal, the mark of a lady. Men desired these small feet. Few spoke of the tears, the pain behind the silk. Footbinding was tradition, deeply rooted in culture. It shaped many lives. It controlled destinies. A girl with bound feet might marry well, so mothers bound their daughters, believing it was for the best. This essay will look back into this haunting history. We will see the origins, the process so brutal, the reasons for its long life, and the suffering it caused. It is a story of endurance, a beauty that crippled millions. The story begins long ago in the Tang Dynasty, over 1,000 years past. An emperor loved a dancer. Her name was Yao Niang. She bound her feet with silk to make them small, like a moon. She danced on a golden lotus. At first it was a courtly fancy, a trend among the elite. Palace ladies copied Yao Niang. They wanted to please, to appear graceful, delicate. Small feet became a symbol of imperial favor and exquisite femininity. Slowly, over centuries, footbinding moved beyond court walls. It reached noble families, then wealthy merchants. By the Song dynasty it was common, a mark of refinement, a sign a woman did not labor. Her tiny feet proved her status. What started as a dancer's art became a widespread custom. It crossed social classes, most common among Han Chinese. Manchu rulers later resisted it, but its roots grew deep, entwined with ideas of beauty and a woman's place in society. The binding began young, usually between 4 and 9. A girl's bones were still soft, easier to break, easier to shape. The day was often in autumn. Feet might be numb from cold, hoping to lessen the agony, but pain always claimed childhood. First, the feet were soaked in warm water or animal blood to soften skin and bones. Toenails were cut very short, then the 4 small toes were curled under the sole, pressed hard until they broke. The arch was then forced upward. Long bandages of cloth 10 feet long, 2 inches wide, were wrapped very tightly, pulling heel and toes together, forcing the foot into a triangle. The ideal length 3 inches. Golden lotuses, they called them. Bindings were stitched shut. This process was repeated every few days for years. Feet were unbound, cleaned, dead skin carefully removed, then bound again, even tighter. Infections were very common. Toes might rot and fall off. Some girls died from this. Chains of silk. Why mothers bound their daughters? Why did this practice spread? Why did it last so very long? The answers are complex, woven into society's fabric. A primary reason was marriage. Bound feet made a girl desirable, a promise of a good match. Mothers wanted this for their daughters. Small feet signaled wealth. A woman with tiny useless feet could not work in the fields. She did not need to. Her family could afford her idleness. It was a clear status symbol, like expensive jewelry or silks, visible proof of her gentility. Culture played a powerful role. Bound feet were seen as erotic. Men found the mincing gait attractive, the way a woman swayed, helpless, dependent, and delicate. It reinforced Confucian ideals of female submission, of obedience. Her world was made small. Art and literature glorified them. Poems praised tiny perfection. Stories featured these heroines. Social pressure was immense. Unbound feet were big feet, considered ugly, peasant-like. A girl with natural feet faced ridicule, poor prospects. The unseen wounds, a life in miniature steps. The cost was devastating. Beyond the initial agony, physical suffering was lifelong. Walking was always difficult, a slow, painful shuffle. Many women needed support. A cane, a wall, or an arm. Falling was a constant danger. Infections plagued the bound feet, even after the breaking healed. Tight bindings cut circulation. Skin broke down very easily. Toenails grew into the flesh. Gangrene could quickly set in. Sometimes toes would fall off. This could lead to death. The mortality rate was high. Some estimate 1 in 10 girls died from the binding process, from shock, infection, or sepsis. A terrible gamble for beauty, for a chance at a better life. These deaths were silent tragedies. Lost daughters, lost futures. Emotional scars ran very deep. Restricted mobility meant isolation. Women were confined to homes, dependent on other people. Their world shrank considerably. Their opportunities vanished. Pain was a constant companion, a life lived in miniature steps. The slow unraveling dawned after 1,000 years. Change came very slowly, like a sunrise after a long night. For centuries, few questioned it, but voices of dissent rose. Some Chinese scholars argued. They saw it as barbaric. weakening the Chinese nation. Christian missionaries condemned it. The Qing dynasty rulers were Manchu. Manchu women did not bind feet. They tried to ban the practice. Emperors issued edicts, but the tradition was too strong among the Han Chinese majority. Bans were largely ignored. Foot binding continued, if hidden. Western influence grew in the late 19th century. Ideas of modernity, women's rights spread among intellectuals. Chinese reformers formed societies. Against foot binding, they campaigned. They educated people on the harm. Natural foot societies grew. The fall of the Qing dynasty in 1912 brought more organized efforts. The new republic banned it, but enforcement was difficult, especially in rural areas. The final push came later, with the Communist Party in 1949. They strictly, finally, ended it. Scars beneath the silk, remembering the lotus feet. Today, foot binding is history, a practice in museums and memories of a few. The last generation of women with bound feet are now old. Their stories are precious, whispers from a bygone era. They tell of pain and resilience. Their tiny embroidered shoes remain symbols of a strange aesthetic, once prized, now viewed with sorrow. The cultural shift is immense. What was once beauty is now seen as oppression, a testament to changing values and deeper understanding. The legacy is complex. It reminds us how beauty can inflict terrible harm, how traditions perpetuate suffering even with good intentions. The desire for acceptance, the pressure to conform, these forces are still powerful. We must remember these women, their silent endurance, their broken bones, altered lives. Not to judge ancestors harshly, but to understand the context and to honor their strength. To look deeper into history, to ensure such pain never repeats. History isn't just about kings and wars. It's about the bodies and lives shaped, sometimes shattered by culture. Beauty can empower or imprison, and sometimes it takes centuries for a culture to see the difference. If you found this story powerful, hit like and subscribe. We tell the stories others forget. Subscribe and come back next week as we uncover another hidden corner of world history.